one chapter each week, we'll do 5 to 10 of the coding assignments so that you can really get warmed up with each bodily system. Right now, we're kind of going through a overview of the CPT coding manual. I'm going to come around and pass out an example of that AMA CPT assistant. When you see that in your textbook, don't worry about completing those exercises. Just know that this is an example of the CPT assistant. Again, it's about $1,700 per person as a user fee. And I don't really understand why the publisher has that as a part of completing homework, like within the first couple of chapters, because not everyone has access to that, and AMA doesn't offer free resources for it. If you try to search them out online, you're going to run into a brick wall, because there really are no free resources for CPT assistant. Biopsy of a lacrimal sac.
Six,
68525, absolutely. Did everyone get that? Did anyone get anything different? No? I'm good, right? All right, number 8. Incision and drainage, hematoma, floor of the mouth, masticator space.
41018.
41018, absolutely.
What was that?
41018.
No, there was also 41009.
Right. Because one's intraocular and one intraoral, and the other one's extraoral. Is it normally intra? If it doesn't say?
If it doesn't say, well, it would depend on the guidelines for that one. What were you looking at, 41009? Take a look at it. The masticator space, oral. Can you see how that is indented a little bit? If you're looking at the 411, where are we? The 41018. See the descriptor for the 41015? And see how it's a little bit indented below it? So it's including those particular services along with that higher level of specification. Does that make sense? See how it's indented a little bit? So it's saying that this was included, but then that's high, it's bringing it to another level of specificity.
Yeah, but the 41009 has that indentation too.
Right, but it's the top portion. It's our descriptor for the intra-oral incision and drainage of an abscess, cyst, or a hematoma
Yeah,
of the mouth. It's lingual. Can you see that?
yeah.
So it is giving us that, and that is saying it's the masticator space. But the other one is actually giving us the extraoral incision and drainage of the abscess,
Oh,
the cyst or the hematoma. So it's,
For
exactly. So it's actually matching up with our procedure that was performed a little bit more than that initial together.
Because,
So-
or it's gonna be something more.
Oh.
The lingual, the sublingual, so those two terms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's why I can't specify enough, it's the, sometimes you can have the code right there, but it's the one term. And just, and it's good to actually work out the rationale, like why? Why was it this particular code and not a different code? So that's what CPT coding's all about.
Sandra,
Yes,
on number 6, one with the catheter,
yep,
if you start in the index, like if I follow the handout you gave out, you said, well, the first order you can go to your index, right?
yep,
I could find catheter and catheterization, right, you could say it, but I couldn't find temporary or Foley.
okay.
So,
You have to know it's a urinary catheter.
Right.
So the urinary, where it's going is the urethra.
right, but could we start in the index and somehow get ourselves there? You know what I'm saying?
It's very tricky, and that's why I was saying that it's a skill. So that roadmap that you're looking for, the A to Z, you have to determine your best road.
Okay, 'cause I just wondered.
You can, sometimes it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, 'cause
You know,
I've been
you
able
go
to
right
do
to
it.
the, but other times, you may feel like you're chasing your tail round and round and round and round, seriously. When that starts to happen to you, that's when you pull out resources and you start to break down your descriptors, break down your documentation to get you to either the bodily system or one of those main terms.
What I did is I Googled the Foley calendar to see where it was going in the body,
Okay.
and that's how I found it.
Where did you want it? Yeah, oh, all right. Yeah, Google.
Those web resources, again, we're gonna actually start looking at a few of them, like surgical sites and everything. Next week for the discussion board, everybody is aware that there's a discussion board in here, right? You only have to, you have to respond to the main post and then respond to one peer throughout the week. The reason why I do that is because a lot of the times when we're in this environment, we're doing the coding, we're doing the kind of a hands-on, but there's so much more out there to the coding aspects that I want to make you aware of, because it's industry specific. It's not necessarily classroom specific, but it's industry. Just kind of like this week, the discussion is on the computer assisted coding. Or you can actually take a look at any of the other, we talked about CDT, you know, we've got the ICD, we've got NBC, which are national drug codes. We've got, I mentioned on that, because of HIPAA, that there are codes that are relate to so many different things. So you can take a look at any of those specific HIPAA-related websites or standards that are out there. Classification systems. CPT is a classification system. So you can take a look at any of those and just give me a summary. I'm not looking for a 5-page paper. I'm not looking for, just make sure that you cite any references that you do use, and just give me a summary. I mentioned about how quite a few people feel that coding is going to be outsourced eventually because of computer-assisted coding. But again, computers can't think, so if you take in and consider computer-assisted coding, do you really even know what it is? Does anyone?
One of the
It's
problems
gonna be-
is people make this, some people make the decisions, aren't going to go and say, oh, it's cheaper, let's do it.
Right.
They may learn the lesson.
What computer-assisted coding actually is it's a resource that's available to healthcare organizations that takes all those different rules. And when you go to apply a specific code, it breaks it down. Yes, you can, no, you can't, this, that. It gives you all the rules that apply on one page. Hey, that's not taking my job away, it's making my job easier. Absolutely. So that fear, because people are resistant to change, they've got that fear, you know, that of course they're going to be replaced, because so many different aspects of the field have been replaced, that they have that fear that they're no longer going to be required to manually apply these codes, but a computer cannot think. Codes have to be manually entered because of the different guidelines, the different rules, the different across the board. You couldn't have a computer system that could apply the appropriate code, breaking down all of that. I mean, CAC, yes, it makes your job easier. Does it do your job for you? Absolutely not. We're going to use the encoder here in class as well, the 3M encoder. It's actually software that is used in hospitals. And we'll take a look at that. That gives you a couple of the guidelines, a couple of the rules that pop up. But it's mainly used for, of course, diagnoses coding. But maybe what we'll try to do throughout the summer is we'll actually look at a case where we're applying the codes and then looking at the revenue changes. You know, how we were talking about the resource-based, kind of taking a look at, you know, if this procedure is performed this way, the healthcare organization gets reimbursed $6,000 somewhat dollars. If it's coded this way, even a patient's age can affect the amount that the healthcare organization gets reimbursed. So we'll take a look at some of those in the encoder. That's it for me,